The rituals of purification. The meaning of purification. The linguistic meaning, cleanliness. The Islamic meaning, the purification of humans, inner and outer, and anything other than humans from impurities, dirt, and detestations. It also refers to uplifting of ritual impurities and removal of filth. Purification from ritual impurity. By performing ablution, ghusl, or what may be done instead of the two, that is, tayammum. Purification from filth. By removing impurities from clothing, place, body, or anywhere where they may be found. Purifying with water first. The water permitted for use is mutlaq water, or pure water. Pure water. It is any kind of water that is considered to be pure, whether it's rain, groundwater, salt water, or fresh water. It must be on the condition that neither its color, taste, nor smell change. Okay. So as we just read, firstly, the meaning of purification. We read that there are two meanings for it. First, the linguistic meaning, and second, the Islamic meaning. And most of the knowledge that we will be learning will consist of two meanings, the linguistic and the Islamic. Why? Because words in Arabic have a meaning when translated within the language and can have another meaning when being translated within the religion. It could end up meaning something entirely different. So this is why the word purification, which in Arabic is tahara, linguistically, it means cleanliness, but Islamically, it has a different meaning. The Islamic meaning for it is the purification of two things, of humans, their inner and outer, and anything other than that, from impurities, dirt, and detestations. There's also, as you can see on the screen, it says there's also another meaning that purification can refer to, and that is the uplifting of ritual impurities and the removal of filth. Now, in the second part, we'll start to know how purification is done. We just mentioned that in purification, there are two things, the uplifting of ritual impurities and the removal of filth. Okay, purification from ritual impurities cleans the inner of a human. Just as we mentioned, purification cleans the inner and outer of humans. Well, in this type of purification, the inner is what we are cleaning. And that is done through three different ways: ablution, ghusl, and the third, which can be done in place of both, which is tayammum. These three ways can clean the inner of a person from any ritual impurities. Now, next is how we remove the filth, or as written, the purification from filth. The way that we do this is removing any impurities on the person. This cleans the outer of a person, which is why one of those things mentioned are the body. It also removes the filth from anything other than humans. Like, for example, it could be a prayer rag or clothes or the setting that a person is in. All of these places have to be cleaned. Now that we know how to perform purification from ritual impurities and from filth, we'll get into what we can clean ourselves with. And the first thing that we use to clean ourselves with is water, which is why it says in the lesson, purifying with water first. Now, the water that we're allowed to use in purifying is called mutlaq water, which is what it's called in Arabic, al-ma al-mutlaq. In English, that translates to pure water. Now, according to Islam, what kind of water is considered pure water for us to use when performing ablution or ghusl? So as mentioned, any water is considered pure water. whether it's rain, groundwater, fresh water, or salt water. All of these can be used in purification, but on one condition, and that is that nothing can be added to these waters that will alter it, that will alter three things in particular. Its color, its smell, and taste. If the water that is used conforms to these rules, then it's considered permissible when performing the purification, no matter its source. I can give you an example. Rose water. It's a pretty common drink that some people prefer. Let me just get you the picture on this here. Okay. Okay, so rose water is an example of pure water. It's considered pure water, but in Islam, it would not be considered pure water solely for us to use in purification. Why? Because it does not conform with the condition that we mentioned earlier, which is that the color, smell, and taste cannot change in the water being used. In this case, the taste of the water changes because of the additive rose flavor that's added in the water. So to conclude this point, I want to clarify that any water that doesn't conform to the rules mentioned is still considered pure water, like the example I just mentioned of rose water, or even lemon water as another example. Islamically, these are all considered pure water. They just cannot be used and are not permissible to be used for the purpose of purification from impurities and filth that we're learning today in the lesson. The last thing I wanted to mention is about this section is this new section that's been being added today is the fundamentals of religion. We're just starting to learn it, and it consists of the knowledge of Iman and the riches of purification, and the other two that I mentioned. These are just, we're learning them as a start. These are basics. Later on, inshallah, we'll go more into depth and learn more in detail of the information that these topics provide, inshallah. For example, we learned today that we perform purification through ablution, ghusl, and tayammum. Later on, we'll go into depth of what each of these are and in what cases should one perform them. Alhamdulillah, that concludes the fundamentals of religion. Jazakallah.